Hey, good morning guys, welcome back. The title of the video is going to be how much cash is too much cash? How much cash is too much cash? Now, before I get started in the video, I want to say that this is a first world problem that not everyone has. Okay, this is probably a problem for most, maybe middle class, middle to upper class and beyond have this type of problem. And in my opinion, you can never have enough cash in general, okay? I believe that having tons of cash, no matter how much it is still always a good thing. Now, some people would argue otherwise due to inflation and other things like that, but I still believe when it comes down to it, you can never have enough. Okay. However, there does become a point where inflation is going to eat your cash. Okay. And everyone's situation is different. We all have different debts, liabilities, goals, travel plans, whatever it is. And you want to have your money work for you, no doubt. And depending on the interest rate environment we're in, it's going to dictate how you feel about cash at the end of the day. You know, if we're in a high interest rate environment where yields are pushing between 4, 5, maybe 6%, hey, cash is king. You can get a great return on your money. You know, so at that point, man, you can never have enough cash when you think about it, because you can make a guaranteed, safe, no risk return. But when we saw in the 2000s era, 2000 to 2021, we had low interest rates, 0%, 1%, 2%, whatever. You could barely get any yield on your money. You know, some of these finance gurus, like I think it was Ray Dalio, he would go around saying, cash is trash. Cash is trash, right? That's what they used to say. Now it's a different tune. I haven't heard him say cash is trash, because you can still have a good yield on it today. We've got high interest rate environment, still a relatively strong, moderate economy for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but I digress. This is a difficult thing to answer. How much cash is too much cash? Now, for me, I'm trying to figure it out myself. Okay, I've been continuing to save cash year over year, month over month. I don't stop. And I'm getting to a point where I feel like maybe I've got too much, which is a good problem to have. Nothing wrong with that. But at some point, you got to make a decision when you got to make more return on your money, because inflation is not going anywhere. Okay, it's getting lower right now, but it could come right back. You never know when it's going to come back, especially if the Federal Reserve cuts rates a few times, if they see any weakening in the job numbers. So I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm coming up with my own little plan. You know, I've heard from many finance people like, oh, you should have at least $1,000 emergency fund and maybe 3 months. That's like the Dave Ramsey plan, where you should have 3 months saved in cash for your expenses. Some people say 6 months. We've got some people saying out there 12 months, which is where I'm leaning as well. What does that mean? Now, you could go and look at what your raw expenses are for a 12-month period and save all that cash for that. That's all fine and dandy. But here's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking you take your income, you take the taxes out, and that's how much you want to have. You want to have 1 year's worth of your post-tax income, whatever that may be. Let's say you make $100,000, and after taxes, you take home maybe 80 or 75,000. That is what I think I want to have. I want to have as much cash that I can live off of from a 1-year salary, after-tax salary. That's my thoughts on the whole thing. Now, you know, some people don't feel, many people who watch this video aren't going to agree with that notion. They're going to say, man, no, cash is trash, don't have that much. But my thing is like, I like to have the freedom to not worry about my job or not worry about, you know, the next month or two. I just like to have that freedom, that peace of mind to not worry about money. And if you have that much cash saved up, and it's going to collect some interest, no doubt, you know, but if you have that much liquidity saved up, you're going to be all right. You know, you're going to have peace of mind to be able to come out to this field here, this park, and do a video with a clear frame of mind. And you're going to be able to do a job that much better with a clear frame of mind. Because that's the thing. If you lose your job and you don't have a clear head, how are you going to change and pivot your skills to be able to do so in an unemployment environment? You know, you're going to be stressed. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to have arguments maybe with your family or your wife or vice versa. And you don't want to be in that situation. So having 1 year's worth of after-tax dollars of your current salary is ideal if you can do it. Now, it's not easy to do it. Like I said, this is a first world problem, probably a middle to upper class kind of problem. But if you're in a position to do so, it's something to think about. And then when you get to that point where you have a full year salary, all right, now take your extra cash and go and invest it. Take whatever risks you want to take, maybe invest in a business, a separate side hustle. And I want that for you. I don't want you to be stressed. If you're in that position to save that kind of money, I recommend doing so because you need a clear head at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole thing. You know, you got to do what you want, do whatever's comfortable for you. Maybe, hey, for you, you might want 2 years, you know, depending on your level of comfort when it comes to being stressed when you're in an unemployment situation. Now, the other thing you can do if you can't save that kind of money is get rid of your debts. All right, if you can get rid of all your debt, you don't need 12 months of living expenses. You can probably do 3 to 6 months worth or whatever it is. You don't want to have to liquidate any part of a retirement portfolio if you happen to get laid off and have a hardship. You don't want to have to do that. You want to still continue to grow your capital year over year, decade over decade. And anytime you pull out of your retirement, it's going to hurt your future. It's going to hurt your retirement. So that's why you want to be prepared with enough cash. And like I said, you can never have enough cash. Stack your cash, okay? So anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys are doing. Are you guys saving like maybe 3 months worth of cash, 6 months, a whole year's worth, maybe 2 years? You know, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think we're going into a lower interest rate environment where cash is going to start turning into trash and we might see inflation come back up again? Let me know. So anyways, you guys have a great day. Take a look at my previous video, and thanks, guys.